StraihtAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is how to turn your side hustle into your main hustle. And before we get into this, let me remind everyone, I send out a text message every day free of charge, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day. If you want to receive this message, and you do, all you got to do is text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894. I call it the Daily Motivation. You'll be getting that every day straight to your phone, free of charge, along with some other perks and bonuses that you get by being a member of my text community. But you got to text me at my number in order to get into it. That's the only way you can get any of these things that I just laid out. That number is listed down below in the episode description, by the way. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That's the only place where you can work with me directly, the only place you can be coached by me. If you have questions you want to ask me, if you have plans that don't exist and you would like to have some plans, you have a strategy that's not working, you like to have a better strategy, if you know you need accountability in order to execute on those plans, but you don't have any accountability right now, the only place you can get all of that from me is go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's the only place you need to go to get started. We make it really easy for you to get started inside the university. Again, that link is down below in the description. Is workonyourgameuniversity.com. So getting into the topic, how to turn your side hustle into your main hustle. This is for anyone who is doing some business on the side. In other words, you have a full-time job, but you're doing something on the side right now, and you would like to eventually do the side thing as your full-time thing and just drop the full-time job. You like to fire the job and just do your side hustle as your main hustle. Usually the biggest need people have with side hustles, or at least you think your biggest need, is you need to make more money. All right, my side hustle was just making more money, then I'd be good. I would just do my side hustle as my main hustle. While I will not refute this point, you do need to make more money if that just makes sense. I mean, we can count, we all can do math, right? There are some pieces that will make making more money easier. All right, so if your side hustle right now is producing 20 grand a year and you needed to produce 60 grand a year in order for you to make it your full-time thing, so you got to triple your revenue from your side hustle, I'm going to share with you the things that will help you make that triple the revenue. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you make more money because you probably already know you need to do that. That's probably the thing you've been most focused on. So what we'll talk about today are what are the pieces that will allow you to do that. Got it? Good. Point number one. Topic once again is how to turn your side hustle into your main hustle. Number one, think sustainability. This is the number one thing you got to do. What do I mean by this? Sustainability means not just what you can do now and what's going to work for you today or make you money today, but also what you'll be able to do all the time and will work tomorrow, next month, and next year as well. Because let's keep in mind what we're talking about here. You want to turn your side hustle into your main hustle, which means your side hustle can't just produce money here and there every now and then. It needs to produce money consistently the same way that your full-time job does. All right, the reason you hold on to a full-time job is because you know you're getting a paycheck every 2 weeks. So your side hustle doesn't necessarily have to make you money every 2 weeks, but it needs to make money consistently so that you know you'll be able to take care of your kids, pay your bills, keep your phone turned on, et cetera, whatever else you got to pay for. Pay for car insurance, alimony, child support, rent payments, whatever it is, whatever it's going to be. If it's going to be your full-time business, it got to produce full-time money, right? And it needs to do it on a consistent basis. So if you jump into your side hustle as a full-time hustle, again, that consistency is a big deal. Now, it's not just every now and then. Right now, it can be every now and then because it's supplemental. But when it becomes your full-time thing, it's not supplemental. This is the main thing. This is the main thing that we're focused on. So you need pieces in place in your business, such as a process for continually getting in front of your target audience. But that's also part of the marketing process. You need a marketing procedure process, we'll call it that. A process for converting your browsers into buyers, meaning just because once you start getting in front of people on a consistent basis, now you need a process for turning those eyeballs and browsers into buyers and money. All right, so that's called sales. Marketing is getting their attention, selling is getting the money. You do need a list, you do need a list, being these are people who are interested in your stuff, and maybe they've already bought your stuff and you have some more stuff that you might want to sell them in the future. So your list is the people who have already identified that they would love to be contacted by you, and then you have license to continually reach out to those individuals so that you can keep telling them about what you have going on. And your list can be people who have already given you money and will give you more in the future, or people who have not given you money yet but are considering giving you money in the future. Either way, they have identified themselves as someone who is open to being contacted by you. That's your list. I talked about all this in episode number 2590, by the way. If you didn't hear it, you can listen to that. If you're listening to this recently after it came out, it'll still be in the podcast feed. But either way, any episode in the history of the show, you can just go to workonyourgamepodcast.com. So you do need a list. These are people who are interested in your stuff. You keep reaching out to them. And you need a core offering that you can continually sell and produce money from. Core offering is just what's the main thing that you want people to buy into. You might have 1,000 different products. What's the main thing? Amazon's core offering, they got how many products Amazon have? 1 million, right? But their core offering is they want to get you on Amazon Prime. Because if you get on Amazon Prime, next time you need to buy something, where are you going to think? What's the first place you're going to look? You're probably going to look to Amazon. Why? Because you're already invested in Amazon Prime. So I might as well get something from Amazon Prime since I'm already paying for Amazon Prime. You get it? Same thing with Apple. What's Apple's core offering? Well, the core offering to me is the phone, because that's where they make the majority of their money. And they have different ways of selling you the phone. You can buy the phone outright. Like my last phone, I just bought it outright. But they also have iPhone leasing. Basically, they don't call it that, but they call it iPhone for life, where basically you're leasing an iPhone, and then when that lease, after a certain amount of time in that lease, all they do is you turn in that leased phone and then you lease another one, and you just stay on the leasing program, and you're going to stay on it because you always need a phone. So iPhone for life is basically a continuity program for leasing an iPhone, the same way that you would lease a car. As soon as you're in one lease of a car, well, now you have no vehicle. You're probably going to lease another one. Now you might stay with the same company, you might move to a different company. With the phone, it ain't that many options as there are with cars. You're probably going to stay on it. So this is a great business idea that Apple came up with. And again, all these things I'm talking about here, I detailed in episode number 2590. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to it right now. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how to turn your side hustle into your main hustle. Number 2, treat your side hustle like a main hustle right now while it is still a side hustle. What does this mean? Well, you probably can't put a full-time effort into your business right now, because if you could, then, you would probably need to be making the money first before you could put a full-time effort into it. You can still begin to build the disciplines necessary even while only giving part-time effort to what you do. What this means is you need to have something like a consistent schedule and a process for the work that you are doing. So even if you're only working on your business 2 hours a day as opposed to 8 to 10 hours a day like it maybe a full-time entrepreneur would, during those 2 hours, do you have a clear process for exactly what you're doing in that time? That 2 hours that you have, do you have a clear idea of what you're going to do for that 2 hours? I've noticed, and I talk to many entrepreneurs, whether they're side hustlers or full-time, many entrepreneurs have no idea what their schedule is. They don't have a schedule. They're just randomly doing stuff, and hopefully, if they're talented enough and timing is right, things work out in their favor. But a lot of times there's no schedule, there's no plan, and therefore things end up not working the way that they want them to work. So when you want to treat something like a full-time business, you want to treat things like a professional, it means you got to have a plan, folks. You got to have a plan, and then you have to execute on your own plan. We call this discipline. We call this being a professional. This is also known as professionalism. Showing up and actually doing the job. Now you have to weigh out what the job is when you're an entrepreneur. Nobody's going to tell you the job. If you go get a job at Walmart or Target or McDonald's or Apple, they're going to tell you what the job is. They tell you what to do. They tell you what time to get there. They tell you what to do while you're there. They tell you when to go on break, and they tell you when to go home. When you're an entrepreneur, all of those things need to be filled in by you. You tell yourself what time to get there. You tell yourself what to do. You tell yourself what time to go on break, when to come back, and when to go home. And if you aren't disciplined in laying those things out, what happens is a whole bunch of time leaks out of you because you are using that time trying to either figure out what to do or lollygagging and doing a whole bunch of nothing, which is what a lot of entrepreneurs do, by the way, a whole bunch of nothing. Simply because they have not given themselves a directive as to what to do. So what happens is that time just goes away. It just gets sucked into the abyss. There's a void there. And when there's that void, there's that vacuum of time, that time just disappears. This is what happens. And this is what happens with all your resources: time, money, attention, energy, and focus. I talked about this in episode 609. When you don't have a clear plan for what to do with these resources find their ways into places that you didn't even know existed. In other words, they just disappear. If you don't have a plan for what to do with your money, you'll find that the money just gets away from you, as some people like to say. So you got $500 and you don't have a plan for what to do with that $500, 2 weeks from now, that $500 is going to be down to $15. Why? It's not because you lost it, not because someone stole it from you, it's simply because you didn't have a plan for it. Well, the good salespeople out there in the world, they have a plan for your money that you don't have, so they're going to find a way to separate you from that money because you didn't have a plan for it yourself. If you don't have a plan for your energy, you will find that all your energy gets sucked out of you by things that you didn't even want to use it on. You don't have a plan for your attention, for your focus, for your time. Same things happen. That time gets sucked out of you. These devices that we have, these smartphones, you know what they do? They suck our resources away from us all day, every day. If you don't have a plan for what to do with your time, there's an application on this phone that will suck that time away from you. If you don't have a plan for that time, it has a plan for your time. This is why you got to be very disciplined and intentional and on purpose when it comes to how you are using your resources. Okay, so do you have a consistent schedule and a process for the work that you're doing? Do you know the core activities that you need to be doing on a consistent basis, and are you doing whatever the core activities are? So let's say you can only give 2 hours a day to your side hustle. During that 2 hours, what are the core activities that you absolutely must do? There might be 30 different things you could be doing for your business. I know. But what are the core activities in 2 hours that you could do every single day that are the most important ones? Have you sat down and thought about that? Have you prioritized it? Are you sure that these are the best core activities you could be doing? How do you know? Who's helped you figure it out? And all of these things you should have answers to. And then are you actually executing on the things you got answers to? And as you go full time in your business, understand, you should simply be doing more of the things that you're already doing. So whatever your side hustle is right now, if you were to go full time tomorrow, all you would need to do is more of the stuff that you already have going on. It's not that you're going to add a whole new set of activities once you go full time. All you would do is simply multiply the amount of time and the amount of resources you can give to the things that you already have in place while it is a side hustle. So if I was doing my business part-time right now, right? If I was running Work on Your Game part-time right now, I might put out the Work on Your Game masterclass 3 times a week instead of every day, simply because I don't have as much time to record. I might only leave my schedule open for sales calls 3 or 4 days a week instead of 6 or 7 days a week. And the sales calls are where sales get made. So I want to make sure I'm giving some time to that, because if I would only do it 3 or 4 days a week simply because I don't have the time to do it as much as I did before. I might send fewer emails because I don't have as much time to write, but I would still be doing the same activities, just less of them. So even as a side hustle, your consistency should already be in place. So I know as a business owner, I need to have a core offering. I'm going to get people into Work on Your Game University. I need a process for getting people into my world, getting their attention, which is the marketing side. And I would use this show as a way of marketing myself and probably do some social media as well. And I need a process for converting that attention into actual sales. Selling, marketing, offer. That's what I would focus on. And the entire time, anytime I'm marketing to somebody, I'm going to get them on my list. So that would happen. That's kind of like the thing that's going to be ongoing, happening in this process the whole time. So these are the things you can be doing as a side hustler right now. Point number 3, today's topic once again is how to turn your side hustle into your main hustle. Number 3, invest in your outcomes. What does this mean? First of all, let's get clear. What are your outcomes? Side hustle you're running right now, what are the outcomes that you want your side hustle to produce? Whether you're doing it on the side, even if you were doing it full time right now, you were working 80 hours a week in your business, what outcomes do you want that business to produce? This is not a rhetorical question. It's my question to you. What outcomes do you want your business to produce? No matter how much time you're working on it, what are the outcomes? How would you know that your business is doing what you want it to do? What are the measurable things you need to see? Remember, folks, and so what do I mean when I say invest in your outcomes? What I mean by this is you taking your money and investing that money into the insights and the guidance that you will need to turn your part-time business into a full-time business. Let me repeat that sentence, because this is very important for you entrepreneurs, especially those of you who are side hustling and want to become full-time hustling. You want to be your full-time thing. You need to take your money and invest it into the insights and the guidance that you need in order to turn a part-time business into a full-time business. Understand that you just working harder, which you don't have the resources to do, most importantly your time. You don't have the time to work harder. Working harder is not the answer to you turning, not the answer to you trying to turn your side business into a full-time business. The answer is insight. In other words, where do I need to apply my effort and attention and energy to my side hustle that will turn it into a full-time hustle is usually not, let me just work harder. It's usually not, let me just give more hours to it, because there's only so many more hours and so much more hard work you can give to anything before you don't have any more to give. What you need is better insight. Because right now you might be focusing on things that are producing $20,000 a year, but if you had some insight, in other words, you took that same effort and applied it in a different way, you could produce $80,000 a year. But you don't have that insight. The insight that you need is in somebody else's mind and in somebody else's program and someone else's head. You need to invest your money in getting access to that insight. That's what you need to do. We call this investing in yourself. This is investing in your business. Number one purchaser of time, everybody, is money. Let me say that again. The number one purchaser of time is money. What do I mean by this? You walk into a mall. Walk into the mall in the town that you live in, or the closest one around you. You walk into a retail store, there's a bunch of people in there working. They're all getting paid, right? What are they getting paid with? Money. And what are they all giving in order to get that money? They're giving their time. So if it's 20 people working in the Bloomingdale's at your neighborhood mall, all of them are getting paid in money in exchange for what? Their time. They give a certain amount of time, they get a certain amount of money. That company purchased all that time from all those individuals by using money. So what does this have to do with you? Am I telling you need to go hire a bunch of people and pay them to work for you? No, because you wouldn't even know what to tell them to do, because you might not even be clear on what you need to be doing in your business, let alone what anybody else would need to be doing. What I mean by this is, when you pay somebody else who knows a lot more than you do in a certain area, who in turn can help you achieve results faster, what are you doing? You are effectively buying time. You're purchasing time. Because if you did everything by yourself, right, and it took you 6 months to get to a certain outcome, let's say you're making 20 grand a year from your side hustle, you want to make 80 grand a year so you could do it full time, and you did it all by yourself, you just kept working on it on your own, it would take you another 6 months to figure it out. You could take 6 months to figure it out. But what if, on the other hand, there was some expert out there who could show you how to get from 20 grand a month to, not 20 grand a month, 20 grand a year to 80 grand a year? What if they could show you how to do it in a matter of 3 weeks if you just applied their process and their insights? So instead of it taking 6 months, it took 3 weeks. So if you were to pay that person whatever their charge is, you have just bought 5 months and 1 week. Right? That's just 6 months minus 3 weeks. You purchased 5 months and 1 week of time, 5 months and 1 week of your own life. You just bought from this person in exchange for whatever it costs to get access to them. How much is that worth to you? How much is 5 months and 1 week of your life worth in dollars? If you had to put a price tag on that time, how much is it worth? And if the answer is more than, if that number is more than the price of their program, that means you should invest, because you just made logical, objective sense of it. Everybody catch what I just said there? If you didn't, just rewind that a couple times and make sure you catch everything that I just said. This is how you can make an easy decision on whether or not to invest in something. See, and it also depends on what you're offering and what you're selling. Because if you're selling a $9 book, well, how many $9 books do you have to sell in order to make sense of that kind of investment? This is why you got to get clear on what your core offering is and talk to someone who can help you take whatever it is you're offering now and maybe come up with something that is worth a lot more and has a lot higher value so that you can get higher ROI in exchange for it. All of these pieces go into your business. And these are kind of things that you get help with when you come into work on your game university. I'm bringing these things up because these are the kind of things that I help people with every single day. And if you listen to the show often enough, you hear me talk about these things more than once. Why? Because these are core principles, core strategies, and core understandings that I help entrepreneurs with. Now, these are not things that I just made up. These are things I talk about every single day. You ask anybody in the university, they'll tell you. So, when you invest in your business, you are buying time. You're buying getting a result faster than you would have got it by yourself. That's what you're investing in. When you try to do everything by yourself, you're doing things the slowest and least efficient way possible. That's if you can even do them at all. When you do everything by yourself. So I gave you the example of, let's say it'll take you 6 months to figure it out. That's assuming that you figure it out at all. Because listen, I talk to entrepreneurs all the time, and I talk to entrepreneurs who say, you know what, I'm gonna try to work on it and try to figure it out on my own, Dre. I hear people say this to me all the time. Well, you're gonna try to figure it out on your own. That's the key word. You're gonna try. Now, what if you don't figure it out on your own? Then what you gonna do? I got that 5-second pause there because I really want that to sink in. What are you going to do if you don't figure it out on your own? And let's ask a follow-up question. Have you not tried to figure it out on your own before you got to the point of even considering what I'm talking about right now? You already tried that, didn't you? Okay, so how many times are you going to keep trying the same thing and expecting a different result? We all know the definition of insanity, right? See, doing things by yourself is the slowest and the least efficient way to do things, and usually it's because of people's fear of doing something different, their fear and hesitation about parting with their money, or their arrogance and thinking that they can figure everything out on their own when they've already proven to themselves that they can. See, when you're doing everything by yourself, you're trying to do things. That's the key word, try. There's no guarantee you're going to figure it out. When you invest in working with someone who already knows how to achieve an outcome, there's no try. You know you're getting the outcome. You're just using money to buy the result. And you're buying the time of getting the result a whole lot faster and with a much higher probability of achieving it than if you did it by yourself. Why use up all your time trying to do it on your own? You could just use your money and know you're getting the outcome. See, why use your time to try instead of using your money and know? Isn't that a good question? I think it's a good question. What do you think? Keep in mind that you're on the clock, everybody. You don't have unlimited time to play around with. So trying to do it on your own, you don't have unlimited time to keep trying. All right, eventually you're gonna run out of time. All right, so 50 Cent is my favorite rapper, and my favorite album, as a matter of fact. His album called his debut album is called Get Rich or Die Trying. Some of you are gonna die trying, simply because you keep trying to do things by yourself when instead you need to connect with other people. See, one thing 50 Cent didn't say in the title of his album was that he connected with some people who knew how to sell a whole bunch of albums. A guy named Dr. Dre, another guy named Eminem, and he pretty much had a formula for success. Combined with his talent, he had a formula. Now, if he would have kept trying to do it on his own, he probably would have died trying. All right, so you see that part, he didn't give you that part in the title, but I just gave it to you. Now, with all that said, let's recap today's class, which is how to turn your side hustle into your main hustle. This is for any of you with a side hustle. You want to make it your full-time gig. Here's how you do it. Number one, think sustainability. Not just what you can do now and what works today, but what you'll be able to do all the time and what will also work tomorrow, next month, and next year. Jump into your side hustle as a full-time hustle. It has to keep producing money, not randomly. Listen to episode 2590. I'll tell you the pieces you need in place for this. Number two, treat your side hustle like a main hustle right now. While you can't put a full-time effort into your business right now, the core efforts and the core activities that you're doing in your business should not change. Even if you're giving 2 hours a day, the core thing shouldn't change. If my business was reduced down to 2 hours a day, I would do the same things. I would just do less of them. Because I know what my core activities are that I need for my business. I need to be building lists consistently. I need to be drawing people into my world. I need a way of converting eyeballs into sales, and I need a core offering to sell them. That's it. Number three, invest in your outcomes. This means taking your money and investing into insights and guidance that will allow you to effectively buy time. Many of you entrepreneurs are playing the game as if you're playing the game like an employee, because you are not investing any money into your business. You're waiting for the business to give you money before you do anything else, but the business is not giving you money because you don't have the insights or the information or the access or the knowledge on how to make it produce money. So you're in this endless cycle of nothingness because you don't know what you are doing. This is why you invest money into getting that insight from other people. And this is why people who invest money achieve outcomes a lot faster than everybody else. With all that said, text me. Let me know the best insight you got from today's class. My number is 305-384-6894. And Work on Your Game University, that's a place where you get to work with me directly. When you are serious about taking your business where you want it to go, when you are serious about taking your personal and professional life to the level that you know it needs to be at, and you know you want to do something right now, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Stop playing around with your life and living as if you have unlimited time when we all know that you don't. That's workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.